Good evening, Bills Mafia. Welcome to Buffalo Late Night. I am your host, Thomas DeLoss. You can find me at the Thomas DeLoss. Tonight we have a fun one. Tonight's a different one. Tonight's a night that you're going to be getting to talk to somebody who I'm sure you're very familiar with, somebody you may have seen on TikTok, One Bills Live, on WWE. Quite frankly, a man who really needs no introduction whatsoever, and that's the professor, Nick Harrison. Let's bring him on board here. Nick, good evening. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you.
Thomas, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. I hope everybody's having a great night. What's up, Bills Mafia? Go Bills.
Absolutely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here at Buffalo Late Night, we are sponsored and proud of it by both the Dentist for Kids and Travis Matthew, and you'll be hearing more from our sponsors throughout the show. Also, if you are watching on YouTube or Twitch, feel free to comment. Let us know what you're thinking. What Nick brings up. Feel free to tell him what you're thinking. Also, make sure to subscribe, hit that like, and share. Love to see you come back further, and hopefully see you week on, week out. Now, Nick, let's get into this. Tonight, I saw you mentioned on Twitter that you were going to go without, speaking on your guy, Tre'Davious White, and, the video of his progress towards returning. So, my friend, take it away. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
John Keats said, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." And that video that I saw of Trey White will be a joy forever for me, because seeing the way that he went down last season, and to see him already out on the practice field, basically skipping, just getting on that ACL and showing his recovery, showing his progress, it just brought a smile to my face. Being a North Louisiana guy, much like Trey, I'm from Grambling. He's from Shreveport. We grew up basically about 45 minutes away from each other. It really brought my heart some joy to see a guy like Trey with Louisiana roots and a Bill. And the Bills. Let's call it a spade, man. To see him progress the way that he has is just truly remarkable, and a testament to his want to get back on the field. I'm going with a little Les Miles there. Don't see we're talking about Trey. The want of Trey White to get back on the field is truly remarkable, and I'm so happy to see it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I was at camp today, and I've unfortunately torn my ACL in both my knees. So I've gone through the full recovery twice now, and it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. In fact, I had my surgery just before Trey did, and so I'm fairly confident. I've said it before that he's going to be ready for week one, and that video just kind of reinstills the fact that he's doing full wind sprints at this point, and he's able to do some lateral movement. That's huge. Yeah. That's huge in the progress, especially for a cornerback who. His job is really to be shifty and to be able to keep up with the wide receivers. So love seeing it. Now, in the past 2 days, the Bills have been at St. John Fisher University, and that's obviously for the start of training camp. And that means the 2022-2023 season is right around the corner. Who do you have your eyes on, Nick? Either, for training camp or just in general for the 2022-2023 season?
I've said this since he first put on the Bills uniform and started playing, and it got yelled in my home and across different Bills Mafia establishments throughout our country during my travels covering college football. So I'm going to say it out loud again right here on Buffalo Late Night. I love Gabe Davis.
All right.
Just the absolute
Speak on it.
Maturation of Gabe Davis and what he has been able to do. We talk a lot about Josh Allen and his maturation and his progress from rookie season to now. But to see what Gabriel Davis has been able to do at the wide receiver position for the Buffalo Bills and bringing up, just pushing his profile up higher and higher, you love to see it, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in that wide receiver core, which is pretty salty right about now. They got weapons on top of weapons on the offensive side of the ball for the Bills.
They got some dogs.
Woo, man, they got that dog in them. They got that.
Mhm.
You take X-rays of the players. They got the dog right there. They got that dog in them. So that it's gonna be very interesting to see how that offense looks this season, because we saw numerous glimpses of how great this offense could be last season, especially during that playoff run. So week one out of the gate against the Rams, we'll get to see exactly what that offense looks like, and I think it's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Nick, that the last two, literally Gabe and Nick, I said Nate, had the last 2 days I was at training camp, and Gabe Davis looks phenomenal. I mean, I think the big thing was for a lot of fans is he going to live up to the 4 touchdown performance against the Chiefs in the playoffs? Is he going to be able to take that step? Because, there's a lot of targets that are going to go his direction now with Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley gone. I'll tell you, he looks every bit the part. What he's done in the past 2 days, and I know it's a small sample size, but man, I tell you emphatically, even my wife yesterday, Gabe Davis went up, and I swear to God, he looked like it was in an air balloon because he got so high off the ground. What he's going to do this season is going to blow the rest of the league away. And it's just going to be like when we had Peerless Price and Eric Moulds, where they were just feeding off of each other back in the day. I think you got Diggs and Davis now, and it's going to be serendipitous.
Quick story. Now that you mentioned Peerless Price,
yeah.
As you see, I have one of my old jerseys on. This is one of the old ugly jerseys. This is a Roscoe Parrish jersey, by the way.
Love Roscoe.
Yeah. Roscoe P. Coltrane. I love it. So, quick story. The first Bills game that I ever went to was at I think it was Enron Stadium at the time. It's NRG now.
Okay.
For the Texans. And it was a road game, Bills versus Texans. I'm from Louisiana, so until this past season, I had never been to Buffalo. So this game is tight all the way through, and it ends on a Peerless Price touchdown in the back of the end zone to seal the game for the Bills and to take the lead. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I'll never forget it. So to mention these guys in the same breath as Moulds and Peerless Price, that's really tall cotton that you're talking, and it's cool to hear and to see and to live through right now. And right. I think one thing that is a benefit is the connection between Gabe and QB1. What they've been able to do so far in this offseason and at the beginning of training camp and even last season, ever since they started playing together, that's one thing that you have to have if you want to be an elite offense is a great connection between your quarterback and your wide receivers. Right. And that takes working together during the offseason. That takes, getting together even when you're not in camp and just, talk. It doesn't even have to be like physical, like football, just talking to each other and making that connection with each other. And that's one thing that Josh does with his guys. And right. We see the connection that he's making with Gabe now. And that's just going to pay big dividends on the field. And we're seeing just small soupçons of it right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you can tell Josh goes out of his way to make sure that, that bridge has been built and it's sturdy, and he has everybody's respect. Right. And one of my guys, Hansel, who I was sitting with today at camp, Uber Hansen, he even said himself, Josh has become the king of Western New York. Oh, you see him when he walks around, like everybody, all eyes are on him, and it bleeds to the rest of the team. So that relationship with Gabe and Stefan and the rest of the wide receiver room is just it permeates. It's fantastic.
It's hard not to like Josh,
Right.
You hear the guys talking about him. You hear Dawson Knox talking about him. It's like he's talking about his son or something. He just beams. He talks about how he loves the jokes and the these nuts jokes that Josh does. It's some but that's what you want to hear from your team. You right. Not just the respect, but the almost borderline admiration. Right. Of your fellow players and the love that you have for those guys, and you hear that from everybody that's around Josh Allen, everybody that plays with Josh Allen, is that they love being around him, not just playing with him. They love being around him. So that's gold right there. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. So you love to see it, man.
Absolutely. So Nick, you said emphatically you've obviously your lineage, your pride in Louisiana and in Grambling is infectious. You've mentioned it quite a few times. What, for you, how did you become a Bills fan, and what has it been like being a Bills fan really from afar?
I tell you, these questions that you're asking right now have been, they've been asked by every entity that I've been on over the past couple of weeks to talk, that's a Buffalo podcast or, radio show or television. Like, you're from Louisiana? How did you become a Bills fan? And the tune has not changed. Super Bowl 25, as crazy as it sounds. It was the first Super Bowl that I ever watched in full. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and it brought up this memory of making bets on my school bus, bus number 33, back when I was a kid. Shout out to bus 33. Making bets on the AFC Championship game because, all of my friends, thought that I think it was the Raiders were going to win, but I was like, no, the Bills, man. It's the Bills. They're going to do it. And we made these little bets, and I was supposed to take everybody's money, but my mom made me get on the bus the next day and say, no, you can't do that. You can't accept these bets. But, just during that time, what it was for me, even as a young man, I loved what I felt like was being just outside the box thinking. And all of my friends were Saints fans, of course, being in Louisiana, even though the Saints were terrible at the time. All my friends were Saints fans, or they like the 49ers, or the Pittsburgh Steelers or something like that. But nobody was really, behind or the Cowboys, of course. But nobody was really behind the Bills. And I just connected with them. I watch Super Bowl 25 and then it's 26. And just, keep rolling with the fandom and connecting with the team. And it just grew and grew and grew throughout. I never wavered, never faltered, never left. Just stuck with it. Good times, bad times, just with them the entire time. And over the past couple of years, it has just grown exponentially and gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And then once I got on Twitter, connecting with Bills Mafia is what just took it to another level, because I was on Twitter when the whole Bills Mafia thing was starting.
Right.
And, I started following Del Reed and all these people who were involved with the Mafia. And, now, I talk to Del off and on from time to time. I talk to Kristen Kimmick all the time. I stayed at Kimmick's house in December. So it's just the connection now is about more than a football team. It's about more than a game, about football. It's about a community. It's about a fan base. It's about people who I have connected with and that I love dearly because they are not just my friends. They are my family. So, it has truly grown into a love of the 716. It breaks my heart that I'm not there tonight at the
Rage
Bank to go see Rage. Quick story. Well, funny. Just quick point. I actually have tickets at Will Call from Tom Morello that I can't even cash in on because I couldn't get there. So it's like Morello left tickets at Will Call for me to go see them in Buffalo, and I couldn't make it.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, but it's okay because I'm here with you now, and this is what God meant. This is where God meant for me to be. So I can be nothing but thankful, and I'm glad to be on with you right now.
I appreciate you, brother. Well, hopefully we can get you to go see them some point, because I'll tell you, I've wanted to see them for a long time, man. Rage is
Oh,
they're one of those mark out bands for sure. I mean, I remember a number of years ago I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they've got their old tour bus sitting in the lobby there, which is super cool as well.
that is
Um, okay, so obviously, aside from being a Bills fan, one of the big things that you've kind of become synonymous with is TikTok. Whether it was you walking in the classroom with the various WWE entrances, which I'm very familiar with, or just random TikTok videos like the one you just got famous with, or not famous with, but like really when viral with the Rage one.
mhm.
A lot of people have seen you there. What kind of got you to start doing, like, what was the motivation to start doing this? And do you plan on continuing just to pop these videos out for the foreseeable future?
Um, so I started on TikTok during the pandemic, 2020. Uh, in March of 2020 is when I really started. I actually downloaded it in January of 2020 for a day
Hmm.
and deleted it because I thought I was going to end up being put on a watch list. It's like there's no reason I should be on this app, so let me just stop. And I I ended up getting on again during the pandemic, and it was a suggestion from a fellow teacher friend of mine because I was a teacher at the time by trade, and we didn't have a whole lot to do because all the schools were shut down and everybody's at home just pacing, watching the paint dry on the walls. So I started making videos. Now my background originally is in theater. My first two degrees, my first two college degrees were in speech and theater. So acting was my forte. So when TikTok got suggested to me, it was you could do these lip syncs and you could do some acting, you could do some of your little skits, and I would write parody songs. So you could do those too. And it all just kind of grew and grew, and my love of it grew because I love entertaining, but
Hmm.
people really started to gravitate towards the videos and the content, and that was before I even started doing the wrestling stuff. And so the wrestling stuff comes along, and I started doing that and started doing the entrances, which started in my bedroom and gravitated to the classroom. And once I started doing them in the classroom, people were like, hey, this is pretty cool. And that's when WWE really took notice, is when I started doing that. And I do that, and it's fun and great and all of that. And then I end up on the bump, and that's cool. And we go and do stuff with AEW, and that's cool too. And it's all just kind of rolled and spiraled into something that I never even intended. When I got on TikTok, it was just a time waster. It was to burn
Hmm.
off minutes because I had nothing else to do in my home. And it became something so much more than that. I mean, it a lot of it was me trying to make people smile because we were all going through a really tough time.
Right.
So I want to make you smile. I want to make you happy. I want to, give you something else to think about besides the dire straits that we were in at the time.
And you did it in spades.
Yeah, it's crazy, and still doing it, and that's the motivation, and that's why we keep looking. That's why we keep pushing forward, and that's why I don't see myself stopping anytime soon,
Right.
because now it has bled over into Twitter and bled over into Instagram and now
Hmm.
on Facebook and YouTube, and it's all over the place. So if there's a way that I can brighten someone's day through all of this, then that's what I'm gonna do.
That's amazing. And that's, we should all be striving to do something to that nature, and just not to be too cliche, but leave the world a better place. That's the opportunity. And I'm glad that, you saw even the smallest little window to be able to do that. Now, being a big wrestling fan like myself, uh, having a company like WWE, which is, I mean, one of the biggest, you're talking when it comes to entertainment, they are, kind of a whale in a very, very, very large pond, and
Yeah.
they're great. They're one of those companies that whether you're a wrestling fan or you're not, you know who they are. You know their logo. You even probably know at least one of their entertainers. What was it like for you to have a company like WWE reach out and want to talk to you and have you on their show, The Bump, and just even have some type of involvement, whether big or small?
So we were in the middle of testing.
Mhm.
And my students wanted to do a video after we got finished with our test. And they're like, Mr. Harrison, can we do a video? I said, sure. What do you guys want to do? And they knew I did a lot of wrestling content. A lot of them were big wrestling fans. They said, we can do The Undertaker. I said, sure, we can do The Undertaker. Somebody go back to the light switch in the back and you like flip the switch off after you hear the music start. And I'll walk out. And then when I raise my arms, you turn the lights back on as if I've turn the lights on by magic or something. And it went over well. The kids loved it, which was the biggest part of it, but it went over well on TikTok and on the internet. And I got a message on TikTok from the WWE. Now, if you're on any kind of social media, like on Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that, if you aren't mutually following somebody, you can't really DM them. And that's especially on TikTok. If you don't both follow each other, you can't DM each other.
Right.
So for the WWE to DM me, that means that they were following me. That was the first big realization to me. Was like, WWE follows me. Like, they don't even follow. Wow. There's only a select handful of people who they follow. So I was like, wow, okay. And the message said, we love your videos. Would you like to be on our show, The Bump? And I had to excuse myself and go to this little breezeway that's around the corner from my classroom, and I just burst into tears.
Oh.
Because what you have to understand about me is that this working with professional wrestling, with big professional wrestling companies in any way, shape, or form is a lifelong dream.
Right.
I've worked in independent organizations as a referee, ring announcer, as a manager. I'm currently the commissioner of Bayou Independent Wrestling. Professional wrestling is not just something that I watch and not something that I'm just a fan of. I love it with all of my heart. And it's something that I've wanted to participate in since I was a little kid. So for a company like the WWE to contact me and say, we want to work with you. I mean, that was,
that's a mark out moment.
That's a big mark out moment. And, so I just start crying and, I had to excuse myself. So I wasn't crying in front of the students. But I let them know, WWE wants to put Mr. Harrison on their show. And I was actually, when I did The Bump, I was in New Orleans for a teaching conference. I did it from my hotel room.
Wow.
It was, it's just that opportunity and that kind of moment doesn't come around often for people. There's only a very select few people who get those kinds of opportunities. And to be one of those people just meant the world to me. So yeah, it was, and to be on it and to have, WWE tweeting my stuff out and WWE on Fox tweeting my stuff out and them, complimenting my performance on The Bump. And they're like, yeah, that entrance, your Batista entrance was great, man. 11 out of 10. It's amazing. Like it's just cool to have that kind of thing happen and to be recognized by WWE and a lot of their superstars. Mick Foley follows me now. Randy Orton follows me on Twitter. That's John Cena, but John Cena follows everybody. It's just it's amazing how many people on Twitter John Cena actually follows. But it's to have those types of moments and to have those types of things happen. It's just, I can't stress enough how cool it is and how cool it continues to be.
I don't doubt it whatsoever. For a kid like myself, I'm 34 years old. I grew up with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker and Bret Hart and, the British Bulldog and, a lot of the prime best wrestlers you'll ever see.
Right.
And so yeah, I've always followed, and I can't even fathom the idea of WWE reaching out, if I had hit it. And sometimes that's all it takes, if catching lightning in a bottle, and you had something that it whether it was niche or it was just something, you have a background, and I know a lot of like where I grew up in Rochester, I've trained in the gym that Luke Harper trained in. A lot of my buddies, I know people that have worked in the industry. And I know I spent 3 days, never again. I love these guys. Took 3 days working in the gym, taking bumps, doing everything wrestlers do. Body was not meant for this, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with that, and I respect them just the same. I'll never do it again. But man, I'll tell you, I can't even fathom, the ability or even just the opportunity of working with a company like WWE. So for a guy like you, Nick, who still, is grinding out the road, and whether it's being a manager or a referee or anything of that nature, I can imagine having them reach out has got to be just almost surreal or out of body or anything of that nature. Any type of token conjecture you can throw out there. It's got to be just.
It's crazy. Like it's nothing. It's something. Again, I didn't. There are a lot of people who get into social media to become famous, to become big names. I never got into it for any of that stuff, and even after 1 million followers, it still doesn't feel that way. Like it doesn't feel. I had a buddy of mine post something on Facebook the other day where it talked about. Well, no, I think it was somebody who sent out a tweet who said that back in where I used to live in Monroe, Louisiana, in North Louisiana, and one of their morning radio stations mentioned me as one of their celebrity birthdays this past week, which is that's surreal.
Right.
Where it's like celebrity birthdays, the Professor Nick Harrison is 42 on Saturday. Like it's that's crazy to me. But that's where I am. And I kind of have to accept where what this life is now. And I still don't view myself as that because I try to stay grounded as best as I possibly can. But it's moments like that and like the retweets and the messages and people reaching out for business opportunities and this, that, and other. It just, you have to look at that stuff and be like, okay, let's go. So it's surreal for sure, but I'm thankful to be there.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it whatsoever. Now I'm going to do a quick live read if you don't mind. A Dentist for Kids offers individual dental treatment for kids of all ages. By providing relaxed, fun, and encouraging environment, Dr. Zach's goal is to help your child build confidence in their smile and with their overall dental health. A Dentist for Kids is currently accepting new patients, and they participate with most major insurances. If you visit Dr. Zach, mention Buffalo Late Night for $25 off your choice of a custom whitening kit or an electric toothbrush. Call today to set up an appointment with Dr. Zach, my cousin, my guy, my bruz, and his team, 585-538-7230. I say it every week, but genuinely, go see Dr. Zach. He is one in a million. He is a fantastic dentist here in Rochester for your kids. I know, as a kid, I didn't like going to the dentist. He makes it easy. He makes it seamless. He makes it an enjoyable experience for your kids. So go see him. Go check out his number, 585-538-7230. Or check out A Dentist for Kids on Facebook. He'd love to see you. And now, Nick, going back to what we were talking about, when it comes to WWE, do you have any plans on doing anything with them in the future?
If they call, I mean, like real talk. If they call, if they want to do something, let's do something. If they, if AEW calls, want to do something, let's do something. Like I love the sport of professional wrestling. I love the business of professional wrestling. So I'd love to participate in any way, shape, or form. So just you like it, I love it. Let's do it.
Let me ask you this. I've been to both shows. I actually just went to AEW in Rochester a month ago, I want to say it was. I've been to WWE live events. Um, what do you think? What do you think about the future of wrestling? Because obviously there's a very drastic difference between the two of them. You know, WWE is very much entertainment. I would say it's less wrestling, more a lot of mic work, a lot of different segments, and then AEW is I would say a new style, almost like if you took luchador wrestling and put it on fire. I mean, there's just a lot of things going on there. What do you think about the two? And is there one that you've gravitated more recently, or do you kind of what's your feeling on things?
The future of professional wrestling is bright because we have stepped into an area of the world of professional wrestling that I like to call the tasting menu.
Mm.
You have so many different options that you could go to if you like a certain thing.
Mhm.
And there are a bunch of different companies that you could turn to go and watch. You have WWE, you have AEW, you have Impact, you have GCW, you have New Japan. You have all these different companies that, and of course, you have your indie promotions that you could go and check out. There's so many different things that you can go and look at if to see what you truly enjoy.
Mhm.
Me personally, I like all of it. So I can't say that I gravitate towards one more than the other because I mean, I got Raw on my television right now. Uh, Tomorrow I'll be watching NXT. Wednesday I'll be watching AEW. Thursday I'll be watching Impact. Friday I'll be watching AEW again and WWE. And in between all of that, I'll be watching New Japan and New Japan Strong and GCW and all of these wonderful indie promotions. Go check out IWTV so you can check out all the independent wrestling that you can stand. It's just you have all of these different outlets that you can participate in. So the question is, why just stick to one?
Right.
Why just do one thing? Me, I'm an ambidextrous, man. I like to do a bunch of different things. On TikTok, I don't just stick to the wrestling content. I also have the headbanging stuff with the music. I also have the comedy. I also have the teaching stuff.
Mhm.
Just the bill stuff. Like I have all these different things, these avenues that I go towards, and it's hard to stick to just one thing.
Mm.
So I like it all, man, and I like it that way because it gives you opportunities to just be a part of so many different things and to just fall in love with professional wrestling all over again.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you, it very much feels back like the Monday Night Wars. You know, when you had WCW and WWF going back and forth and really challenging each other for that supremacy. Um, because there's so many talented, incredible individuals, so many great wrestlers, so many unbelievable storylines. Just what they're building through both companies is fantastic. So going along those lines, obviously, the big news this week was Vincent Kennedy McMahon hanging up his boots. Whether that's true or not, or how long that lasts, we shall see. But very few people can or have transcended a company or sport that they've owned, like Vince McMahon. But he's done just that. He's been a pioneer. He's been a trailblazer for sports entertainment for 30 years. He's really been the guy that a lot of people mold and kind of try to be a shadow of because of what he's been able to do, being not only a beacon of consistency, but a guy that has been undeniably successful. So, Nick, I got to ask, what are your thoughts, or what were your initial feelings when you saw that Vince McMahon retired, and what's next? What do you think? What do you think is going to be coming of this news?
Well, my first thoughts were, you with everything that's been going on with Vince McMahon and the WWE over the past couple of weeks and months, you kind of saw it coming,
right?
But you still didn't see it coming, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was Vince McMahon is the kind of guy who you thought he was going to be dead and buried before he would leave the WWE and, you know, let somebody else run the creative side of things. And here we have it where he, you know, announces on Twitter that he's retiring. And now the reports are coming up of, you know, Stephanie and Nick Khan are going to be doing the CEO thing. Triple H is taking over as the head of creative, and he's now been implemented in that role. And you see the changes happening before your very eyes, and you say to yourself, okay, what's going to happen now? And I think that is probably the best part of everything right now, is that it feels so fresh and new now. That
Right.
It feels like more than likely change is coming on the creative side for the WWE. You know, they've already announced that Monday Night Raw is going back to TV 14.
Mm-hmm.
But that was before all of these changes even happened. And now you're saying to yourself, you know, with that being in place and everything else is going on, what is next for the WWE and professional wrestling in general? Because one thing about Vince McMahon, one thing about the WWE, a lot of times they were the trendsetter, they were the trailblazer. You know, they were the one who started doing something and then other people followed suit. So if this is what's happening now, you would think that this is going to influence what's happening throughout the landscape of professional wrestling. But again, that remains to be seen. You know,
Right.
There may be those who look at this as, you know, like it almost seems like Tony Khan looked at it as a victory that this was happening. And now, you know, what's next for everybody.
Right.
But the real question is, with Vince McMahon now gone, what are we doing next? Like, what's the next big thing for professional wrestling now that Vince McMahon has decided to take a step back?
Right.
And I think that that's what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be intriguing because when it comes to Vince, there was a certain level of like stability, because you knew at the very very core, even if it seemed like WWE was on rocky ground, maybe people didn't truly believe, like kind of when Roman Reigns and all that, when they were pushing him, they're like, oh, okay, well at least Vince is here. You know, it'll shake itself out. You know, when people didn't believe in John Cena, they're like, it'll shake itself out. You know, when everything fell through with, you know, the Montreal screw job, everyone's like, it's okay, it'll all figure itself out, because Vince was always here, you know, and he was able to kind of right the shit. So now I think the real question is, and I know Nick Khan's there and it's fine, but it's really Steph and Hunter. It'll be intriguing to see what the two of them can do and how they can take this company to new levels, because truthfully, I think Triple H is somebody that can make this company and bring this company to new heights it's never seen. I think his perspective and his understanding and his vision of being not only in the ring is going to then translate to the creative side, and he's going to bring people like a Paul Heyman to be able to work and do Gorilla and do those things that he may do better than anybody else. I think as initially my fear of Vince stepping away was pretty strong, I think the company is in hands that is more than competent, I would say.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that Mr. Levesque and his wife and Mrs. McMahon, what they're going to be able to do with the company is something that a lot of people are excited about.
Right.
And I, for one, want to see what their next move is going to be. So it just, once that big splashy move happens, then we're all going to have to get back together and talk and be like, oh God, do you see what happened now? Okay, what does this mean? Because it's all going to, you know, this is just the beginning,
right,
of what's going to happen. But that it's like, in the NFL and NBA, you make draft picks. You make those draft picks with the thought that this pick is going to help move your franchise forward, going to help you get to the next level. And sometimes you get a Josh Allen. Sometimes you get a JP Lossman.
right.
So it all just depends on what they do with what they have, and how that affects the company as a whole. So it remains to be seen. We can't really make that judgment right now of what it's going to mean for the company. We just have to see what they do. But I, for one, am excited to see what they are going to do moving forward.
Yeah, it's a new day for sure. And not to be punny or anything. It's a new day. Yes, it is. Right. That would be really good if actually Vince came, or if Triple H came out and that was what he said. Aside from that, Travis Matthews' innovative fabrics keep you looking and feeling your best. Whether you're on the golf course or strolling through town, offering supreme comfort for every aspect of your life. With clothing that's quick drying, wrinkle resistant, and super soft, you can move seamlessly from work to play. Get 20% off your first order at travismatthew.com. You'll find the link right on Buffalo Late Night social media pages. Also, when you click on there now, you can get free shipping through Travis Matthew. Get their stuff. They have phenomenal stuff. I wear their hats all the time. Literally some of my favorite clothing. Great material, great quality. Really nice stuff. Also, aside from that, Buffalo Late Night is giving away 4 pairs of training camp tickets. I know a lot of people are trying to get on. We were able to get some extra ones. So the 4 winners are Smith the Fifth, Step It Up Y'all, DFS Pirate, and Big E Blash. That's really weird, Big E. So those 4, I'll be reaching out to you guys to coordinate getting those tickets to you guys. But again, congratulations. So, Nick, the last couple of weeks, and I've said this, I'm going to keep pushing this question because I love hearing the answer, and I kind of want to keep putting it out there to see what other people feel and think. I asked my brother 2 weeks ago, loved his answer, so want to hear from you. If you could tell people that have never experienced what it's like to be a Bills fan, in synopsis, what would you say?
That's a hell of a question. Let's God. Never judge a book by its cover, is what I would say. Because there are so many people who look at these videos of Bills Mafia and they're jumping through tables and doing this, all these different things, and then you meet them in person and they are just the nicest people ever, but they will still jump through a table. It's like being a member of Bills Mafia is like going back to your ex-girlfriend, even though you know she's crazy. Like, that she's certifiably insane. But when it's just you two guys together and you're sitting there watching movies and it's Netflix and chill, she's just the sweetest dang thing on earth. And when you get out in public, she crazy. She gonna take a couple shots of Fireball. She gonna yell at your friends. She gonna be as nutty as a fruitcake. But everybody, at the end of the night, everybody's gonna love her. That's Bills Mafia, man. We were in New Orleans for the Thanksgiving game. And there were so many Saints fans who were there. And they were like, they were just, it was because Bills fans took over New Orleans. Every corner you went to, every street that you walked on, there were Bills fans there, and they were constantly saying "Go Bills" to each other like it was going out of style. And people in New Orleans were going completely insane. But by the time they left, Bills Mafia left a mark on the city of New Orleans that you would have never expected, because people saw the love that they had and saw just the kindness and the hearts of all of these people and how wonderful they were. I told you that I went to Buffalo for the first time last season. I was in New Orleans, met a bunch of Bills Mafia members, Kristen Kimmick for the first time, Ashley Petty was there, Pinto Ron was in New Orleans for the game. It was just
love Kenny. Kenny.
He's the best, man, the best. And I'm chilling with a bunch of people. Kara and Andy Rendell. I'll shout them out again because I love them to death. We're all hanging out in New Orleans the Sunday night before everybody had to fly out. And they're like, it was either the Saturday or the Sunday, one of them. It was that weekend. And they're like, so you've never been to Buffalo? I said, no. They said, we got 2 tickets. We can give them to you. We're not even going to the game. Oh, I'm not going to the game. I got a ticket for you. All you got to do is get there. All you got to do is get there. Like, who does that? Who meets somebody who is just basically a complete stranger, never met him before in their life, before a couple of days ago?
Mm-hmm.
They go, here's a ticket to an NFL game for you. All you got to do is get up there. What? But this is Bills Mafia, man. It's hard to quantify and put into words exactly how we are,
right, as
a fan base, as a family. But that's a perfect example of it right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just kind, loving, and completely insane. Yeah, pretty much.
I like it. Now, I'll tell you, I've been asked before, like, what's one of my favorite games that I can think of. And one of the ones that I always kind of go back to is when we beat the Seattle. Why am I forgetting what the Seahawks are? Oh my God, my mind just completely blanked right there. When we played the Seattle Seahawks, and it was just after Josh's grandmother had passed away. I'll tell you, the reason I always kind of go back to that game, because one, it truly showed what Bills fans have always been like, and then national media kind of figured it out even more. But I think it forever connected Josh Allen to Buffalo. Not that he wasn't, but I think it was that, like, that finite glue that now he's always going to have with Buffalo. And it's solely based on the fact that nobody needed to do anything. They didn't, I mean, it's tragic that his grandmother passed away, but it wasn't our responsibility. But we did, because that's what you do in times of crisis, in times of pain, in times of hurt, in times of sorrow. You step up and you do what you're supposed to do. And you like Buffalo, be, that neighbor, because it is the city of good neighbors. You do what's right, and everybody in Western New York banding around, and nationally, people that love the Bills came through. And I think that when you talk about Bills fans, because for the longest time it was Bills fans are a joke. It's wide right. It's you lost 4 Super Bowls. It's the Music City Miracles. It's anything that they could throw, because it's easier to throw shade than it is, any type of adulations, right? Now, though, what you hear is Bills fans are crazy, or Bills fans are the most caring people and the most loving people and the most fruitful people. And I think it's synonymous. I think they both work hand in hand. And I think just kind of the same, like Josh Allen, he's a goofball, but he's also hardworking and gives everything he has, and, Kristen Kimmick said a while back, she was on Joe Marino's show, if Buffalo was a person, Josh Allen would be Buffalo, because he's cut from that cloth. Mm-hmm. And I think that's exactly what you want to say is, when people look at Bills fans now, they don't see that all the years. They could still say it, and who cares? We don't care, because we're going to win the Super Bowl this year, so that's going to wipe all that crap away. But realistically, when you look at it, it's now everybody looks at Bills fans for everything that they do, and how they step up. And, you've seen when, KC beat Baltimore, we donated to Andy Dalton. You know, we've come up big for every other fan base, including our own, because that's what Bills fans do. That's what people that love the Bills want to do, because it shows the true passion that we have. We're not just these crazed lunatics. We're people that give, unapologetically. Um, so I agree emphatically, because the tough thing about being a Bills fan is you have to forget about all the sorrow, because a lot of what people go through. And I think this, being a Bills fan, not only is it a birthright, but I think it goes hand in hand with life in and of itself, right? Like when you talk about life, part of growing up, and a lot of what parents tell you is you're gonna have to kind of earn your lumps. You're gonna get that scar tissue that's going to really brandish you as the person that you will be one day. And that's the same thing with being a Bills fan. We've gone through 20 years of unequivocated misery, where you've dealt with every possible way the Bills could win and lose. They've done it. You've seen games that Stevie Johnson drops a catch that would have launched us into the playoffs. He drops it. You've seen games where the Bills should have won and they lose it in the most dramatically pathetic fashion. But that's what's made us so strong to now, when we're here, we're deserving and ready and calloused for this opportunity that Josh Allen's leading us through. So, I love your explanation, because it truly kind of it encapsulates everything I feel as a Bills fan, that it's not just one thing, and it's not just two things, it's a lot of things that really kind of make a Bills fan who they are.
Oh yeah, it's a virtual smorgasbord of what an NFL fan can be or should be, and that's what Bills fans are. Is all of these different things rolled into one.
Mm-hmm.
They are a crazy fan base. All the videos that you've seen, they're true. It's not fiction. They're the crazy people. We're crazy people.
Right.
But we embrace who we are. We love each other where we are, and it's a family of crazy people.
Right.
But we love with all of our heart. We give with every piece that we have. And you may be our opponent, but after it's all said and done, let's crackle a bat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's sit down and chill and talk to each other and enjoy each other's company, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, man, and we ain't got time for all this hatred of unless it's Pats fan, Jet fan, Dolphins fan. You guys can sit on it and spin. Everybody else, no, I'm kidding. It's still all love, man. It's weird. It's just such an amazing fan base. And I'm just so blessed that to be a part of the Mafia.
Love it. Well, Nick, I got to tell you, I appreciate you coming on here. And for everybody, that was listening, popped in, popped out, if you want to check this episode out and re-listen to it, however you pod, you can find us, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you pod. Feel free to check us out, download this episode or any episode from the previous weeks. Been fortunate to have a lot of great guests, and Nick, I know we were scheduled for last week. I'm glad to be able to get you on. I think we've been following each other for like almost 10 years now. Been a big fan of yours. So it's awesome to finally really kind of have a heart-to-heart conversation with you. But how can people find you? I know people really, it's kind of a stupid question, because people can find you pretty well because you're kind of all over the place. But plug yourself. Let people know where they can get your material.
Mr. Professor 318 on all social media. TikTok just hit 1.1 million followers. Really dope. But also on Twitter, on Instagram. If you search Mr. Professor 318 on Facebook and YouTube, you'll find me there as well. So wherever you do your social media, you will find me there at Mr. Professor 318. Thomas, I'd like to thank you for having me on. I'm sorry that I had to cancel last week. It was
No worries.
my future stepson's 5th birthday.
Amazing.
And I totally spaced on that, and I was not about to not celebrate with him. So I'm glad that we can get back on for this week, and I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who listened, everybody's watching right now. And if nobody's told you today, you are loved, you are appreciated, you're important, you're more than enough exactly as you are, and always remember to be great. And go Bills.
Absolutely. Again, this has been Buffalo Late Night. I am Thomas DeLoss. You could find me at the Thomas DeLoss. I truly appreciate everybody who watches and tunes in, and looking forward to some great weeks ahead. Again, Nick, truly appreciate you stopping on. And as always, Bills Mafia, go Bills.
Go Bills.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on